I moved into a 13-story building, but there's no 13th floor on the elevator. Then I started getting mail addressed to my apartment with someone else's name. The card key doesn't work on the 13th floor. I found that out on a Tuesday, 3 weeks after moving into my new apartment. I'd been pressing the button for 12, my floor, and stepping out into the hallway with the chipped beige walls and the flickering light above Unit 12009. But that day, the elevator doors opened and I was staring at the number 13 on the directory mounted beside the shaft. Just for a second. Then, the doors slid shut and the elevator kept going as if it had changed its mind. I pulled out my card key and tried it myself. Pressed the button for 13. The panel lit up. The elevator hummed, and then nothing. No movement, no response. Like the floor didn't exist. That should have been the first thing I did something about. But instead, I did what anyone would do. I unpacked the last of my boxes. I learned which neighbor played violin at 2 in the morning. I memorized the rhythm of the building, the way the pipes groaned at 4 a.m., the way the hallway lights buzzed on 11 but stayed silent on 12. It was the mail that started to change things. A letter slid under my door one morning, addressed to Unit 1209, my unit, my floor. But the name on the envelope wasn't mine. It said Eleanor Vos. I set it on the kitchen counter and told myself it was a simple mistake. Mail gets mixed up. Buildings have histories. Someone probably lived here before me. Then another arrived. Same unit number, same wrong name. And another. Eleanor Vos, again and again, as if someone somewhere expected her to be home. I took the letters to the building directory in the lobby. The list of residents was printed on laminated cardstock behind scratched plastic. I ran my finger down the names for floors 1 through 12, found mine on the 12th floor. But when I looked at the bottom of the list, there was another column I'd never noticed before. Floor 13. And there, in neat black text, was a name on every single unit, including 1309, Eleanor Vos. I stood in that lobby for a long time, looking at the way the directory was designed. The font size was identical for both columns. The spacing was the same. There was no asterisk, no footnote, no indication that the 13th floor was anything other than real and occupied. Yet every time I rode the elevator, the button for 13 stayed dark, unresponsive, as if the building itself refused to acknowledge it. I went back upstairs and stood in my apartment and looked at it differently. Really looked. The walls were painted a shade of green I hadn't chosen. The kitchen cabinets opened with a particular squeak I'd never heard in any other unit I'd visited. The closet in the bedroom had a shelf at the top that was scratched and worn, as if someone had been reaching up to it for years. I pulled out my lease. Unit 909, 12th floor. I checked the address against the mail. Same numbers, same building. But the mail wasn't wrong. The directory wasn't wrong. The worn shelf wasn't wrong. I pulled out my phone and searched for Eleanor Vos. An obituary appeared from 2 years ago. She had lived in this building. She had passed away in her apartment on a winter morning, alone, and wasn't found for 3 weeks. The unit listed in the obituary was 1309. I set the phone down. I walked to the front door and looked at the numbers mounted on the outside. 4 digits. Don't slightly crooked. I'd read them 100 times. 1209. Except now, I noticed something I hadn't before. The screws holding the number plate were new, recently installed, and just beneath the surface of the plate, faint but visible, were 4 different screw holes. Older, worn, as if the numbers had been changed. I reached up and tilted the plate. Behind it, the original numbers were still painted on the door in faded block digits. 1309. I stepped back into the apartment and closed the door. The pipes groaned, the hallway light flickered, and from somewhere above me, or maybe below, or maybe from inside the walls, I heard the faint, unmistakable sound of a violin playing, the same melody my neighbor played at 2 in the morning. Except my neighbor was on 11, and the sound was coming from directly above my ceiling, on a floor that didn't exist. If your building has a 13th floor, check the elevator. And if you want to hear what happened next, hit subscribe.